Today, we're going to be talking about another great set of action figures in this latest line of army builders from Hasbro. Let's get into this. All right, welcome to another episode of Paul's Collectibles. It's good to have you. Thanks for joining me. Today we're talking about another set of 3 3/4 inch vintage collection action figures. And these sets that have been coming out are really awesome, and I actually really like them, and I like the box deco they come in too. And that'll be the 212th Attack Battalion, or whatever they're called. They're basically the Ford clone troopers that have the yellow decorations on them. And Hasbro has really been doing a pretty good job, if you ask me, of taking figures that we'd like to get multiples of and putting them in these really utilitarian looking boxes with just a pop of color. And they're kind of a neat niche. I'm normally a carded figure, but I do get these because I ended up really liking them. And in addition to that, what I like about them is because I'm a carded collector and I'm also an on-card collector, I never get to really take the figures off and manipulate them or see them up close, frankly. But with these boxes, they're inside like wrapped paper inside, so I can open them up and I can take a look at them, and then I can delicately put them back together and put them back in the box for display, so I at least get to hold the figure briefly. So that's one of the other reasons I like them as well. But with that, let's get this new box of figures in front of some lights, take a look at them, and see what I'll be adding to my 3 3/4 inch vintage collection action figures today. Okay, so there we have the exterior of the box, the Star Wars Phase 2 Clone Trooper 212th Attack Battalion, I guess is the anecdotal name for them. But as usual, they have a picture of a bunch of the clones on there, but there's just a pop of color as they do on each of these. And this one has, looks like some sort of Twi'lek design on his helmet. I think this one's called Waxer. But as you turn the box around, there's just a bunch of legalese, and then on this side, they just have the 4 that you're probably actually getting in there as opposed to that large group you saw on the other side. And then just more legalese, and on the bottom, just a bunch of Disney stuff that kind of takes the fun out of the rest of the box. But let's get these open and take a look at them. Okay, when you get them open, they're just loose in there inside these wax, plastic, or paper bags here. Let's take a look. Okay, out of the package, that's what you get. There's 4 of these clones in here, and then this one has some variations. He has no hair, and he has like what looks like a little goatee thing right here. And then his helmet has some markings on the side of it, as does the shoulder. And right here at the top of his legs, he does not have the yellow markings like the rest of these guys do. And the other 3 are quite literally, no pun intended, clones of each other. And as you can see, they have the removable helmets. And I told you earlier that I was really looking forward to manipulating these, but man, I didn't know what I was getting into. They're so, as my friend Matt over at Zero Hunter Toys would say, fiddly. They're impossible to stand up. I can't get their arms to move very well, but they're really good looking clones. And there's something important to point out here, and you can see the difference right here on the box. On the helmets, there is a running change. Now, as I understand it, most of the vintage collectors like to have what would be realistic interpretations of the animated characters. And since these were apparently featured in animation and in live action, they could have gone 2 ways here. And on the box, as you can see, the difference, they have no black brow up here, but on their helmets here, you can see the black brow above his eyes. Now, if you look at some of the other collectors that have gotten these, they originally started making these with the white brow up here. And I think I definitely prefer the black brow, the more realistic interpretation, i.e. these were the ones that would have shown up in Revenge of the Sith. But each of these guys is really cool looking. I like this Waxer figure. The only problem is if you're going to do some army building, then he's going to need a different helmet, because I think there's probably only one Waxer and you end up with 1 in each box, unless you're just going to put the other ones away and use just the 3 out of it. So that's interesting that they decided to do that. I would have thought they would have made 4 indistinct clones with maybe just a couple of running changes. But as usual, these vintage collection troopers are really good looking. For removable helmets, it keeps wanting to focus on the background. For removable helmets, they don't look too bad. They don't look too far out of scale with the rest of the figure. But up close, this is that same face sculpt we've been getting. This guy, of course, just has no hair, and he's got like a little soul patch. But just, great detail, great articulation. I think these obviously, well, I'm sure they do. They obviously have rocker ankles. It took me forever to get this guy posed, and they're really good looking figures. And if you look at on the back here, they're actually very well done. Like I said, just the difference in the helmet and the fact that there is just a slight difference between the realistic interpretations and the animated versions. But I really like these. I'm glad I got them. And quick mention, they come with 4 of the smaller blaster pistols, almost submachine gun looking things, and then 2 of the larger long rifles, like you can see right here. But wow, once again, I forget how small and how difficult to manipulate these things are. So I'm glad that I don't open up all my figures. I would probably end up going slightly insane trying to get them to stand up and pose. But there you have it. Just a quick look at the Phase 2 Clone Trooper, 212th Battalion. These are Hasbro Pulse and Shop Disney exclusives, and I really like that they put these together, and I really like the style of these boxes. I've said it before, it looks like something you'd get like in a military ration or something. So it's kind of cool if you ask me. But with that, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, maybe thinking about subscribing, that's a great way to support my efforts here at Paul's Collectibles. And if you're already a subscriber or somebody who's been watching my videos for a really long time, I greatly appreciate it. But with that, I'll see you on the next video.